Thank you for that meditation there, Reverend Nancy.
You're welcome.
I don't need to have any words for the introduction of the speaker today, because I know him very well. And after words today, you're going to know yourself a little bit more better. So, good morning.
Good morning.
The words that we're going to be talking about today are the seeds that are in your life. And they are the seeds, or the words that you say. I had a nice introduction in the invocation we had today. And you know that each day you plant a garden. Do you know what you plant?
Yes.
Yes.
So each one of you take at least 5 or 10 minutes and go over what you did that day, who you met and where you went. Because every place you went, you were talking or you were listening. And you know, when you listen, that's a seed too, because words are seeds. They're, and exactly as they are. They're, you know, when you plant a garden and you put the seed in there, you know what that is going to be. Do you know when you say a word what it's going to be? It's going to be exactly as what you say it's going to be. And how you nurture it, how you weed it, and how you cultivate it is how the manifestation is going to be. Now you take a farmer, his first year of farming, probably he had a little bit difficulties doing that. But after 20 years, they don't have no difficulties because they know what's going on. They know what happens, you know. And you know, I hear the word pagan a lot, you know. And you know, the original pagan was a farmer. Because the farmer was always talking to the sun, and always talking to the clouds, and always talking to the winds and everything like this. And that's where they get their name, you know. And so when it rains each day, what kind of a communication do you do with the rain? When the wind is blowing, what kind of communication do you do with that? Wind is a very interesting phenomenon, you know. If you have a sailboat, and if you don't have any wind, you're not going to do much sailing. And so wind usually represents irritations. So if you have a sailboat and you're visualizing a sailboat and you're irritated, know that you're sailing and you're moving and everything. And that is exactly what has happened when the seeds that you plant in the ground, they do go through irritation. From a seed to a root, and then the most dynamic part of change is taking place at that time. And you don't see anything happening. So when you were conceived, you couldn't see anything that was happening at that time. No one could see what was happening, but the most dynamic part of change is happening right then and there. So what that tells me is that I'm going to be nurturing more at that time. I'm going to be cultivating, keeping things loose. And I'm going to weed. And weeding, you know, sometimes is done automatically. When you decide to, you plant a seed, and goals are seeds. And then when you plant that seed, there's people stop seeing you. And that's a sign of a weed. Right? And so when that happens, be aware of where you're going and what you're doing, because your everyday life is the replacement of that. As you become aware, you will notice things that you haven't noticed before. It's like, you know, when you drive down a street and then when all of a sudden you ride down the street, you see more things. So what I'm going to give you right now is that you can drive and ride in the same vehicle and be more aware. And when you see something, I've never seen that before, check it out. There may be something in there. But also what happens when you check something different out, you get the same vibration in there that you're weeding. You know, when I came here in 1970, and I found a group of people to associate with, I says, wow, I know that person. I know it. They got the same name as I had. I knew each one of those people. And my feeling says, now I came here to change. If I'm going to be with these people, I'm going to be the same, and I'm going to be stronger at that. Because we're always constantly changing. If you do the same thing, say the same thing, think the same thing, you do change. You get stronger at what you are. And then we call that a habit. And that's why habits are difficult to change, you know. And you know, feelings are the manifestation of habit. There was times where I would do some action. I felt it was a real nice thing to do and everything. And then I found out that the action that I was doing was actually ill and lack and everything. And so I changed my feelings about that, you know. And then I found things in my life that I did that was healthy. And at one time there wasn't too many of them. And what I did find the worst, and I didn't bring that same incident with me, but I ignited that feeling of achievement and of accomplishment. And you know, we have a lot of accomplishments in our life that we don't even realize. And you know, part of the things that we were taught, you know, don't be a bragger. Well, I'm going to tell you to be a bragger. But there's a wise way to do that. You can feel the energy of a bragger, of accomplishment. If you have accomplished something, you should be able to express that. And we have a word that starts with a W that helps you with that, and that's called wisdom. I have people come up to me and they kind of wonder why I'm teaching the way I am or saying the things I am, and I don't try to defend myself. What I do is that I put on the thought that they'll find out what they're talking about. And eventually they'll find out what they're talking about. I have people come here and they started classes on their own, you know. And I find that that's nice for them to do that. I had this one person that started classes, and 4 weeks later he says, "How do you do this?" I ran out of information to give and everything. And so, you know, it takes a while. It takes years to develop things. And it takes years to develop and to change a habit. And it takes years to be able. That doesn't mean you're going to go without. You're going to have a graduation. You can graduate each day too. You know, if you plant a garden every day, eventually you'll have a harvest every day. And then you'll have so much to harvest, and you won't be able to do all those other things that aren't pleasant. And so, be aware of that, you know. And the thing, I think that the important thing is to know what you plant each day. And you know, you will know what you planted by each day by thinking of the place that you went to, because the vibration is still in you. No matter where you go, that vibration is with you. And you know, one of the things we say is that the reason we ask you to be aware of the places that you go to is that each person you hear and the words that they say, you are absorbing. Every cell in your body absorbs those words. And I don't want that to be something that is difficult to handle or anything like this. You know, is that if you handle them if you absorb each day, you can dig them up and throw them away too. Because we dig up gardens, but there's nothing happening, so we dig up the garden and see what's happening. We can do the same thing with our experiences each day. We don't have to cultivate them. We don't have to nurture them. Right? And so there's three basic things when you plant seeds and everything in our life is to cultivate, nurture, and weed. And by doing those three, you will be able to find something inside you that you're not familiar with. And you know what that is? It starts with you, and it starts with Y and ends with you, and there's an O in between. It's you. And you know, there is so much in you to be acknowledged right now. Because you take a look at the world, and you can see all the changes that are to be done in the world, haven't you? Well, you start by doing that within your own self. All those changes you see, start changing that in your own self. And then you will be able to be more comfortable with you, and I found that when you are comfortable with yourself, you know yourself, and you can take criticism. You know, one thing I learned about criticism is that it's not the negative thing. Criticism is not negative. It's a whole encompassing of that. There's positive and negative energy in criticism. And so when I criticize myself, I look at the things that I probably could have done a little bit different, and then I also find the things that I did that was positive and constructive. And I think of them, because then I planted another garden. I'll leave those words with you and bless you.